Many educators have posed the question, my students look engaged, but are they learning? As I discovered in Part A, engagement is multifaceted, and, as outlined by Fredericks and colleagues 1996, cited in Dusheen 2018, student engagement has three distinct dimensions: behavioural, emotional, and cognitive. I since have realised that each of these, whilst interconnected, are very much individual aspects of student engagement, and as such required individual exploration. I felt it was necessary to unpack these three separately to fully understand student engagement and the role teachers have in facilitating it. Behavioural engagement, as stated by Olivier and colleagues 2020, is the stuff you can see. It relates to actions or observable behaviours, for example, participating in class discussions, noticeably working hard, or asking questions. There is a clear link between behavioural engagement and APST Standard 4.1, support student participation. Mr. Wall from Mount Terry Public School fostered student participation whilst watching a documentary by pausing the film and asking students to identify and explain interesting facts. Further, he asked follow-up questions, encouraging participation by ensuring students were not met with negative feedback, even when their answers were not correct. This inspires students to actively participate and gives the teacher an opportunity to gauge whether students are on task and deeply involved in the learning. A lot of my understanding from Part A was formed around this dimension of engagement, the factors that were measurable. I had not given much thought to those that could not necessarily be seen. Emotional engagement, as explored by Quinn 2017, represents how students feel in response to learning, for example, happiness, sadness, anxiety, or boredom. Pedler and colleagues 2020 note that students having a sense of belonging within the school community holds particular importance in terms of emotional engagement. As discussed by Quinn 2017, students who have strong, positive student-teacher relationships are more likely to engage in their learning and less likely to be disruptive. Engaging students on an emotional level requires teachers to know their students and how they learn, APST Standard 1, to be able to differentiate and design lessons to suit individual needs. Cognitive engagement relates to the investment of learning taken on by the student, and as discussed by Quinn 2017, can be a student's ability to utilise effective learning strategies, self-regulate, or apply strategic thinking. As per the QTM, teachers who have high expectations of their students while supporting them in a positive learning environment are more likely to engage them on a cognitive level. The APST Standard 3.1, Establish Challenging Learning Goals, requires teachers to set goals that will conceptually challenge students whilst encouraging them to take academic risks. Whilst helping at Mossvale Primary School in a parent-helper capacity, I observed Year 1 teacher Mrs. W in a guided reading session. Two children in the group were noticeably reading with ease, and at the end of their session, Mrs. W told them that they would be moving up to the next level of readers. One student was quite nervous, but Mrs. W was able to have a conversation with this student and explain to him what the goal was and what steps they were going to take in order to achieve it. This exchange at the time seemed sweet, and I recall thinking that this teacher really cares for her students. Since taking on this research, I now understand the magnitude of it and how quality teachers integrate industry expectations and theory into every aspect of their pedagogy. Revisiting the opening question, I maintain my view formed in Part A on the factors that impact student engagement, that is, work that has intellectual rigour, the learning environment, and learning that has meaning beyond the classroom. Through further research on the three dimensions and how they look in a teaching and learning sense, alongside a deeper comprehension of industry expectations, I feel I have a better understanding of how teachers use their pedagogy to facilitate student engagement.